welcome back to another episode of the Girls Who Get It podcast. I'm
Yeah,
Sam.
hi, Julia.
I'm excited.
I was looking forward to it. I missed last week,
How
so
was your vacation?
it was great. The weather was good. We were in the Outer Banks and we had like sun. I got pretty tan, which is not like typical for myself. And my nieces had a great time. They like played in the sand a lot. They were a little hesitant about like the ocean. Like they were like, but they ended up liking like hopping over the waves and stuff.
Oh,
Parents, of course, and yeah, it was different because it's the first year that we went on vacation with them. Last year when they were little, we didn't do a family vacation, so it was a lot of fun. It was an adjustment because there's little babies to take care of and adjust your schedule around and everything, but it was a lot more fun. Like it was worth it, whatever, however you want to say that. But
yeah.
I wasn't like super well rested or anything, but like every day
Right.
I was like, oh, I can pass out.
Yeah, it wasn't like the most relaxing vacation.
No, but it was more fun for sure. Like
Oh, that's
I
good.
I love hanging out with them, so it was nice to spend like a whole week with them all day long because normally we live like 5 hours apart, so it was nice. What did you do last week? Anything good?
No, just work. I mean, I went on my vacation with my brother, saw family. That was good. And then when I got back, I just spent the week like trying to, you know, get caught up with life, as I'm sure you probably are doing this week.
Yep. I'm still not caught up at all. My suitcase is not unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people that comes home and like puts it all away. I mean, Sam knows.
Let me show you something, okay? I did laundry a few days ago. There it is, okay?
If
In
I
all
were
its
my
glory.
girl, it's a hot mess. It was nice though, because like the house we stayed in had everything we needed. Like we could do laundry as we went, so it's not like I came home with like a big bag of stuff I had to wash, and like that's always annoying, but I'll get there hopefully soon.
Well, good, good. I, in other news, got a keratin treatment yesterday.
I was taken aback when I saw your story because like I can't remember, like you either have waves or like you're natural. And I was
I
like,
know. I haven't worn my hair like pinned straight like this in a really, really long time, and I kind of love it.
yeah, I'm loving it too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting. I got it done yesterday and I can't get my hair wet for 48 hours. So still have
Oh,
another day. I have to just like leave it be. I can't tie it back or get any kind of like creases or anything in it.
speaking of
But
hair, I wanted to shout out another podcast. I'm not sure if they know we exist. I think one time they responded to me because I said that I love their podcast, but The Confident Collective with Christina and Rayanne, I think, right? And I love it, and they're great. And I was inspired by Christina to do like a little more bang. So I was like wanting to.
yes, I'm loving it. I thought that your bangs look different.
I felt like I needed more. Like I cut them myself in I've done that plenty of
Okay,
times.
but hold on. You say that as if you are not a licensed cosmetologist
Yeah, but it's like,
with professional shears.
I don't know where those are.
What?
I have no clue. My aunt uses them to cut my grandpa's hair. Shout out.
Oh
But
my God.
my
I would have
thousand,
bought them off of you.
I'll find them for you.
The $1,000 Hanzo shears.
I had a payment plan for these things. I was working at Cold Stone and paying these things off, and they are lost at my grandpa's house. I don't know. So I used some scissors from Ulta in my bathroom. Literally the morning before I went to work, I had my hair back in a claw clip, and I don't usually I like to wear my hair down like majority of the time, but the humidity was just disgusting. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. But then I had a vision and I was like, I need more bangs because my hairstylist that I see, she did like some curtain bangs. And I was like, no, 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 this isn't it for today.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I have my work bag on. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it quick. And then I thought I needed more. So when I saw my hairstylist at my appointment, I was like, um, I did cut my own bangs, but like you can cut more. I think I need more. So I was hesitant because like summer, it's sweaty, your bangs get like,
True.
but I didn't care. I felt like my forehead is so square that this really helps, I think, my head.
They look great.
Thanks. Some days I struggle. Some days I'm like, what did I do? But that's typical.
Yeah, that's just bang life.
Dang. Some days I'm like, this is perfect. This is amazing. And other days,
Mhm.
yesterday I was like, oh my God, I'm cute. And then, especially in the morning, you wake up and you're like, uh, this is not a look. But it's
Yeah.
a look. So I'm gonna keep them a little bit.
What made you decide to go back to brunette, by the way? Because
Yeah, I did.
you, for the longest time, you were like a ginger.
I was ginger. I did that for like a year. It was crazy, and I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I even would. Remember when we first did it with you. We were like, should I do my brows? Should I not? And we kept my brows brunette. And then
Mhm.
I was going through my little like crisis over the winter, and I was like, I don't want to change my hair because I love it, but I want to do something like, of course, like crazy-ish. So it's like I'm gonna dye my
Mhm.
brows. So I just had like random color in my closet, and I didn't have any developer that would have been like, I didn't have 20 volume or anything. I think I had like 13. And I was like, I'm gonna just try it. And I slapped some saran wrap on my brows and it worked and it looked really cool. And I loved that.
Mhm.
Um, and then as we discussed in our last episode together, I really went through it at the beginning of this year, like bad anxiety and stress and whatever. And then like my whole thing with my love bomber did not help. He was like kind of part of it, but not even all of it. And my hair like fell out.
Oh.
It was like falling out. Like I'm surprised I have hair on my head right now.
Wow. I did not know that.
Oh, I didn't say. Oh, well, I was also taking a medication that was really helping me, and I had amazing results. I forget if I said what it was. I started taking Monjaro because with PCOS you have insulin resistance, and they often, well, you can have insulin for like it's not always the case, but I was once prescribed, what the hell is it called? Metformin, which is for diabetes, and Mounjaro is also meant for diabetes because of like the link with PCOS and glucose and insulin, whatever. So I started it and it was like amazing. Like sugar cravings, any cravings gone, which helped me obviously like lose weight and
Yeah,
also
I
just
wanted to ask about that too, because I do remember like right before I think we like took the break from the podcast. I do remember you saying that you had started that. And when you talked about it, that was like the first time I had heard about that at all. Like this, injection
new. It's brand new. Yeah.
diabetes weight loss thing, and then all of a sudden like Ozempic blew the fuck up and everyone and their mother has been taking it or like some form of it because it's the
Also,
same thing, right? Like a semi-glutide or whatever.
it's like a similar thing. Manjaro was like new. Ozempic, I think, has like been around, and I never considered it before. But I knew somebody who was starting it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, they say it's supposed to be really good for PCOS," and it worked wonders for me. Like weight was coming off so much easier. I mean, typically it is nearly impossible for me to like lose 10 pounds. Like if I do everything right, it's minimal. Um, so that was awesome. But like besides that, I noticed that I was gonna say like TMI, but there's nothing TMI here. So with PCOS, you can have like irregular cycles and like problems with like your period and stuff, which I did, and I just never really thought of it much. But I would I take birth control, and when I stop the pill to like get a cycle, it would like maybe start. It would take maybe like 5 days to start. It might not come at all. And that was like normal for me. So I'd be like, well, I guess like no period this time, whatever. When I started Monjaro, I would stop my pill and literally the next day, like, period. I was like, what the hell is this? Like magic.
Hmm.
So it was like beyond weight loss because I know everyone's like, oh yeah, weight loss, whatever. You're just like, it really worked wonders for me. And now it's kind of a challenge because it's like meant for diabetes and they want to, like, I don't know. It's kind of been tricky to get it without type 2 diabetes, but it really has helped me so much that I might like look into it otherwise. But anyway, what I was saying about that is I had lost a significant amount of weight, 30 pounds maybe. And then when I was going through like my anxiety and my health anxiety and my stress, I don't know if I ate like twice a day. Like I just like wasn't hungry, because I was less hungry on my medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like when I took metformin, it was the same thing, but that made me nauseous. This just was like I wasn't really hungry. But typically I would eat like lunch and dinner, like definitely eating. But then when I was like stressing, I don't think I really ate. I lost 10 more pounds. And then I think just the stress, anxiety, and then lack of like nutrition. Like I'd wash my hair and it would be like hairballs that should not, it was not normal.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I should keep coloring it because it's probably not helping, like putting, like enough. She started using a higher developer anyway, like 30 volume, for those that know hair, because like my hair wouldn't lift super well with just 20. So I was like, let me pause and get my hair right. And so I've been taking like supplements and I've been trying really hard to like up my protein intake and make sure I'm not like gonna go bald. So
Right.
that's why I was like, let me just not touch it for the foreseeable future. But me being me, I'm like, I kind of want like balayage, like something
Yeah.
spicy a little bit. But maybe that's why I got bangs. I was like, I can't color it, so let me cut it.
That's true. I know it is really hard to just leave it alone. I feel that way with my own hair. Although I've had it long and dark now for a, almost exactly a year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So
It used to be a
going
lot
strong.
fancier. Like in beauty school, we couldn't keep the same hair for like a week.
True. I do feel like the more that I'm doing hair on other people, the less I care about doing my own because I feel like A, it like gets it out of my system, and B, I am just like over it. I just lose interest and like the thought of having to do my own
Yeah,
after doing other people's, I'm like, ugh.
I get that.
It's enough to even have to like wash and blow dry my own hair most
Sometimes I'm
days.
like, for real, like it's a hair wash day again. But
Mhm. Oh yeah. Well, that's crazy. I didn't know it was gonna be like that type of an answer. I thought you were just gonna be like, "Oh, I was just
or
tired of it." Wow, so is your hair still shedding at all now, or has it slowed down?
it's not as bad. I was like Googling like wigs. Like it was that I cried, like bawled my eyes out because the one day I got out of the shower and it would just not stop. And like throughout the day, I would just pull hair off me. And like that's normal. You shed what 100 strands a day typically, give or take.
Mhm.
This
40
was
to 100.
42. Okay, 40 to 100.
Mhm.
I felt literally insane, but I would stand in the shower and any hair that I caught in my hands, I feel crazy. I'd stick to the wall, and but it would be so many. The one day I stood there and I like counted them. I was like, what does 100 look like? I was like, what is this? And I stood there and I was like separating them out. And I was like, this is not normal because that was just the shower. And then I'd get out and I'd, you know, try to comb through it and it would just be more. And I'd be like, how is there gonna be any left? Like, how is this happening? And just like I said, like throughout the day at work, I'd pull like 10 hairs off me like at a time. So at the end of the day, I think I saw doctors for it too because I was like, what the hell? And then of course, like me knowing about my hormonal issues, and I was like, is it connected to that? Is it weight loss? Is it stress? Is it a combination? Like it,
Right.
I couldn't really pinpoint it. And then so I tried to see a doctor here and like couldn't really get in, and I talked to my gyno about like my hormone, like could this be PCOS related? And they were like, don't really think like they were not helpful at all. So then the one weekend my mom came up to visit, and I just like lost it and had like a full blown just like panic attack. And she was like, you're gonna come home with me and we're gonna go see a doctor at home. Because I'll be honest, like Lehigh Valley, where I'm from, like Lehigh Valley Health Network is better than what's up here.
Yeah.
I've I have a few complaints about like the health care in like Albany area. It's really not great. So I took a day or two off work. I went home, I got an appointment. I talked to this woman who was like this doctor. She was amazing. And she was like, I went through something similar in medical school. Like I was stressed, and it's telogen effluvium. It's like just all of your, not all of your hair, but like a lot of your hair will get on the same like shedding cycle and just leave.
Hmm.
Like I don't know how many are supposed to do that, but it was scary. I was nervous. And it, like I said, like it didn't help my whole, like I already had shit going on, and then that started, and I was like, I'm going to lose my mind. And that's when I started Zoloft. So
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better. And I'm sure, like, the combination of everything, and then you start losing your hair, and then you start freaking out about losing your hair, and then that's adding more stress, and then it's probably just making the shedding even worse.
yeah,
So,
it didn't help at all. And then eventually I was like, I try to take this mindset with a lot of things where it's like it's fully out of my control. Like I'm doing everything I possibly can now. Like I'm eating better, I'm taking better care of my hair, I have these supplements, I have like I'm doing everything I can. So if it's falling out, it's falling out. Worrying about it isn't really going to help me. And
mhm.
say that, it should slow down. It's probably going to slow down. I didn't have like bald patches, which is what they look for with like types of alopecia or something else. So I was like trying to relax, which was not, it's not that I didn't want to take like a medication. I've taken Zoloft before, but I don't know. I was like, I feel like I'll be okay. And then I got to a point where I was like, it would be nice to not be like crying every night. So
Yeah, I feel that because I never ended up getting on medication for like anxiety or anything, but I definitely got to a point where I heavily considered it multiple times. But
yeah,
I can relate to that feeling of like I don't want to have to take something or feel like I'm relying on something. I want to be able to like just handle it myself. But
yeah.
sometimes, there's nothing wrong with getting on
No,
medication if that's what's right for you and what you need.
that's what it takes to like get through it. That's what I'll do. I did wait a bit, and I never had a bad experience with Zoloft before. I was like, I feel amazing. I was more motivated. It was really helpful to me. More for like depression side of things. Um, and so when I felt good, I just kind of like stopped taking it. And I know, you're not supposed to do that, but
Right.
I felt fine. Like I didn't have an issue with that. Um, and then yeah, starting it up again, I've had no issue. So
Hmm.
it's all good. I didn't mean to. We have a topic today, or like we have a Q&A today, but I guess that's,
True,
you.
but it is good to just catch up and,
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can like relate or had a similar experience. Please let us know, because I found it really helpful to like hear even from the doctor. I was like, wow, okay, I'm not the only one on earth that's having this problem. And that reminds me, I keep forgetting we have like the YouTube channel. So I went on the other day and was reading through some of the comments, and like such amazing comments. I want to thank everyone so much for like being so nice and offering your your advice and your thoughts, and I love reading those so much. So
I
it's
know, and I think that, like, I love having the YouTube channel because it's nice that everybody can watch us and see, like, our facial expressions and all of that, but it is nice to have, like, the comment section there under each episode because then I feel like we can really have like, get an open discussion going.
love to have the discussions like Instagram messages or the comment sections and stuff, and then just feedback too is helpful. Like we're not afraid of like constructive criticism unless you're going to be mean.
If you're gonna be mean, then fuck
The
you.
hell out of here. Fuck off.
But yeah, no, thank you guys for following us on YouTube and commenting and liking and all that stuff. We're trying to get monetized so we can get ads on our videos, and we're almost there. I think we need 500 subscribers, which we're almost there, and like 3,000 watch hours. So if you normally are just an audio listener, please just go play our episodes on YouTube. Even if you already listened to them, just let it play. Let
I'm
us get those
actually
watch hours.
I because I'll listen to us. I love our podcast. So I
You're
was
our number one fan?
I actually yes, I am. So I would just listen on like Spotify, but now I'm kind of going to YouTube just so I could also like be in the comments and stuff, which
I
is
know
fun.
having the comments is so great. I really do love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Get into our Q&A.
Yes. So we asked you guys on Instagram, which if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you do. It's at Girls Who Get It Podcast. We post polls and all that kind of good stuff. And whenever we're doing a Q&A like this, that's where we get our questions from. So we posted and asked you guys to leave us some questions for Q&A, and that's what we're going to do.
I'd like to start.
Okay, go for it.
I'm kind of glad that we ended up having like a week between because some of things are like I had to think like hard and really consider things, which a lot of the time I just get on here and we talk and I don't really like I'll say whatever, but some of these I was like, huh, I don't know. Like I
Need to
don't
prepare.
yeah, a little bit. So, but I want to start with someone asked, "Where have y'all been?" And we touched on like we didn't start back up when we thought we were due to me. I was not in the right place for all those reasons and more. But then last fall when we took our break initially, it was like I don't know if you guys think it was anything like malicious. Like, oh, Sam and Julie are fighting, the girls are fighting. It was like Sam had a lot going on, and then I was, I was like, yeah, okay, like we could keep it going, but I think also it was hard to the schedule is kind of hard because we weren't doing it like in advance, which made it tricky some weeks where it's like, this came up and I can't record tonight, and then it just got we were new, right? I mean, we didn't know what to expect or we didn't really have a plan when we started. So I think ran into an issue there. And then you were going through things and then I was going through things, as I said, and just stuff. That's where we've been. Physically, I'm in Albany and you're in North Carolina. But
Yeah. Honestly, though, I'm glad that things went the way that they did. I mean, it sucks that we ended up taking as long of a break as we did because I know people missed the podcast, but I feel like because originally I was like, let's take a break and then we'll come back and we'll have video, and we were gonna record on like separate cameras and have like this whole setup and try to make it like really professional, which I'm sure would be very great as a viewer, but like it's a lot of fucking work to do that when it's not our full-time gig. And I
yeah,
don't think that would have been sustainable.
I
So
have
I
to
think the
say,
way we're doing it like this is more sustainable, it's easier, and it's like the best of both worlds. I know it's not the best quality and maybe not like the most aesthetic viewing experience,
this is the
but
best
at
in my
least
apartment. So just so you guys know, I am doing my best. But I will say
yeah.
I liked the idea of video. I'm just a girl, okay? I go to my 9 to 5 and I come home. I don't know a thing about video and cameras and editing. So I was like, okay, I mean, I have a camera and I can, I have a tripod and I can do this stuff. It is pouring. Sorry, I'm distracted. But I was like, I don't know how to do that. So this feels very comfortable to me and like doable to me. And I do like doing this versus just the audio.
Yeah,
But
I think it's fun. I like, you know, getting to actually record
yeah.
our faces.
I mean, this is how we used to record, but you guys couldn't see our faces.
Exactly. And that's what I thought. I was like, you know what? I mean, we would record the podcast through FaceTime basically. So it's like, why not just
This is it. This is the real this is
yeah, let's just share the FaceTime.
yeah. And I love watching like on TikTok or whatever when you just feel like you're FaceTiming, which I've seen some comments like people saying that they felt like we're on FaceTime. And that's really like the vibe we're going for because that's what it is. So
Exactly.
I hope that
Perfect.
answers your question.
I do feel though, going back to what you said about like people thinking we were fighting, I really for my birthday, when I like in the back of my mind, I was like, oh my God, if I'm posting pictures from my birthday and Julia's not there, I wonder if that's gonna like add fuel to the fire and people are gonna really think that we're just not friends anymore.
I really wanted to be there. I was supposed to see Shania Twain that weekend, and we actually ended up not going because it was like a whole thing, but that
No.
that was my plan. I know. And I was so bummed because I was like, I could have been in freaking whatever. But actually, I kept hearing that her show was not good. I love her though, so I probably would have enjoyed it anyway, but that's why I wasn't there. And I was
Yeah.
bummed.
You were missed, but
That's the story, Nothing crazy. That's where we've been. That's what happened. But then another question kind of ties into that. Um, I, when I first read this question, I was like, do I come off as that kind of, I was a little bit offended at first, I'm not going to lie to you. But I love this question and I love that someone asked it because this is like what I wonder pretty much. Um, she says, I mean this in the kindest way, lol. Julia, did you ghost Sam when you were in the relationship with the love bomber? And at first I was like, do I seem like I would do that? Like I don't I try so hard. Like I hate when girls do that. And I always like I know it I understand why it happens, but I was like, oh my God, that's definitely not what happened. And the time like no, that's not the case at all. But it's like I can't believe that. It like made me a little sad. I was like, I never want to be that person, but I don't want to seem like that person. But no, I met him in November, and our last episode was what, October.
yeah. I
Well,
didn't feel like I was being ghosted. I just felt like we both were so occupied with life.
it was yeah.
Next question, where do us girls, late 20s to early 30s, shop for clothes nowadays? I'm 32 and completely stuck in a rut. And I thought this was so interesting because one of my coworkers, she I think is 37, and she is like always uh, she's always bitching about her age and acting like she's so old, and I'm like, "You're only a few years older than me, so
Yeah,
please
like
can
that's
you
not.
not? You know, just don't do that." But she's always saying that too. She's like, "I just don't even know where to shop because at this age," and I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Like, why?
So,
Yeah. Well, I think we have different styles. I kind of dress more like a grandma, but I know we both like H&M. Um,
mhm,
that's always I if I'm going to the mall, I'm always stopping in H&M. I feel like they have a lot of they have a like they have your professional area, they have like your vacation, your casual, your basics, they have everything you could need, I feel.
that's what I was gonna say. I feel like they have a good array of things depending on your style or like what kind of clothes you're looking for, and their prices are
It's not
pretty good. It's not
H&M is
Shein cheap, but it's like,
oh,
you know, it's more affordable.
But then I think the quality's there too. Like I have a lot of stuff from H&M that I mean some things. It depends, of course, but like I have a lot of stuff that I've had for years at this point. But besides that, I go to Old Navy a lot. My
I was
shirts
gonna
from Old
say Old Navy, although only if they're having a good sale.
some of their stuff can be pricey for like what I'm like, this is Old Navy, right? Like
When it's
why?
full price, yeah, I'm like, excuse me.
I agree. I'm like, that's not really why is this $60? Where am I? But I do like their jeans. I have a good amount of Old Navy jeans. Their activewear is kind of nice and usually not crazy expensive. I love their bodysuits, and I never wore bodysuits ever because I was always like, no, like my back rolls and oh, like I don't know. But now I do, and more as a layering piece. But like, love them. They just like fit really good if that's what you're into.
I also love Target's clothes. I just did a big haul actually. The shirt is from Target, this graphic t-shirt.
Uh-huh. Me too.
Yeah, I feel like they have like a good mix of stuff too and a good like array of sizes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have like I noticed recently they used to they still do. They have like their plus size section. But they're integrating like if you're just shopping in the right, whatever women's section, it'll go from like extra small to 3X or 4X or something, which is nice. Just right there in the same set like
Yeah, it's not
oh,
like a separate plus size.
which is always a complaint of mine. Like why are these separate?
I agree. It doesn't make any
Oh,
sense to
to
me.
the back of the store and try to get my size 16 jeans. Like, why is that any different than 12? It's
Well,
crazy.
I imagine like it feels very isolating to like have a separate section, but then also like sometimes I'll walk by the plus size stuff and I'm like, wait, that's really cute. But then they only make it in plus sizes. And I'm like, okay, well that like I would love that in my size.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Actually,
It
I
should
saw,
just be in like they should have everything in all the sizes.
I agree. I saw a TikTok today about like a brand that's just plus size, which is great. I think it's called Arula or something. They had like this whole store. She's walking through the store and she's showing all this stuff. I'm like, I'd wear that, I'd wear that, I'd wear that. And I'm kind of in between right now. I'm like, I don't even know what size I am anymore. Like 12, 14, some things I can fit into or like it ranges. So I can fit in a large, I can fit in an extra large, but I might want an XXL for whatever,
Right.
So it's nice when they're all in the same area and you don't have to like, oh, well, maybe they don't even have this in my section. It's annoying.
Right.
Which is what I like about H&M. H&M never has a separate plus size section, I don't think. All their sizes are just there.
I'm trying to think what other stores I really like Abercrombie's jeans.
I'm so into Abercrombie, which I never thought I'd say in my life. I never fit in them as a kid, ever. I never even attempted to purchase or try anything on Abercrombie. And in the same like vibe energy, Hollister has made like a
Mhm.
similar comeback, although they kind of it's like Hollister's more Aeropastel mixed with Abercrombie because I searched for something the other day. I was looking for just like a white summer dress and they came up and it was on sale. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I'm actually wearing the shorts now. It's like some black trouser shorts. They were also on sale. And I like fit in them no problem. And the prices weren't outrageous. And I was like, these are nice. Like these are cute. This is
They always
nice.
have clearance too. I feel like I
Ooh,
never buy full price at Abercrombie. Same with
I
like
don't
American Eagle.
I don't think I have either. I actually haven't shopped at American Eagle in a long time. Aerie is a different story. American Eagle, I haven't set foot in there.
I used to work in like a combo store that had it was the both of them connected and I used to get a crazy crazy discount and free stuff all the time. So I have a lot of stuff in my closet that is Aerie and or American Eagle.
I remember you got me a bathing suit one year and it was like 10,
Mhm.
maybe less. I can't remember. But I was like, hell yeah.
Good times.
Our next question, which I also really loved this question. What are the positives of the men you have dated? Not everything is negative. So true. I know we discuss a lot of negatives. I love to complain about the negatives, but I feel like this is kind of hard for me because I feel like I don't have any. I have one ex in my mind because it's like that was official. But when I think about, I mean, in my most recent experience, I can remember, I don't know what you would call this, if this would be considered like communication. Um, we used to talk on the phone a lot. And I remember the one time I was getting home and he was getting where he needed to go. And we both at the same time, I was like, oh, I wanted to ask you. And then he was like, oh, I gotta go, like same time. And he was like, oh, what? I was like, oh, it's not important. It was just like something I thought of. And he was like, no, like if you want to ask me something, like then it's important. And I was like, what? Like, okay. And it was just stupid. It was just like, I forget what I asked. Something about like fighting.
If
Like
I was a bug, would you still love me?
I was a worm. It was something like if we were fighting, like would you yell at me or something? I don't know why I
Mhm.
thought it was stupid. It wasn't important at all. It had nothing to do with what we were talking about. And I think previously, like as a negative, my ex was not great at communication at all. And I'm not gonna say that this more recent love bomber guy was in every way, but that made me feel really, I was like, oh, like that felt kind of special to me because I was like, oh, you're not just gonna run off and do, you know, that's important to you. Huh. What I say is important. That's weird. I don't know what you would consider that. Is that communication?
I guess so. Yeah, communication.
What,
Um, I don't
I
know, just yeah,
don't know.
making you feel important.
But I was like, wow, like that I think will always stick in my mind because I've never heard that before in my life.
That is really nice.
Yeah.
I feel, especially with men, I feel like they generally are not, and I mean, I don't know. This is a generalization and maybe a stereotype, but I feel like they aren't really the best communicators and the best listeners. And I feel like if you do try to talk about certain things, or
Yeah.
especially if it's like something more deep, they're just like, ugh, I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about this now.
I mean, I can't speak to like a lot of relationship. Like I said, my ex, I was much younger. I was just happy. Like, I was like, oh, I have a boyfriend finally. And I didn't really push, like, can we communicate better? I didn't really understand at the time, like, what it even meant. Um, but even just men, I work with a lot of men. My dad is this way. And certain men, I'm not going to say all, it's not true. They love to just talk. So having someone be like, I'm surrounded by men that love to be the ones talking. And you just kind of feel like you're like, if I weren't here, would that matter? Like, does it matter what I say? Do you want me to respond? Because you're kind of just
You just want to hear yourself talk.
exactly. So I'm very used to that. And especially at work, I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Talk away. And I'll sit there. But like in a relationship, I was like, whoa, like, oh, what I have to say is important. That's new to me. I was really thinking hard about the good qualities of my true ex that I was with for a year.
Mm-hmm. He gave us our podcast outro.
He did.
TTYL is
You're so
from him.
right. He did. I'm sure we told that story before, but we were breaking up and the amazing communicator he was, I was like, could I come get, I only had like a pillow at his house. I was like, can I come get my stuff and I'll bring you your stuff? And he was like, yeah, cool, TTYL. And I was, so what does that mean? Like, are you home now? Like, can I do that now? And he was like, yeah, sure, leave it outside, TTYL. He said TTYL more than I've ever, like, he never said it before. And just as we were breaking up over text, he decided to say it. That's so true.
I love it.
He gave us that, yeah. But other than that, I really thought back and I got nothing.
Would you say that you've ever like really truly felt like you were in love?
No comment.
Oh. Because I feel like that's what makes the difference. You know, it's like when you get to the point where you're in love with someone, even if things then don't work out in the end, or you end up hating them by the end of it. Like, there's always like still something that was good. Because if
Yeah.
there wasn't, like, you wouldn't have been with them in the first place.
I can say I didn't love him. More recently, I'm not like exactly sure how to say that, but like I look back at that time more recently and I'm like, huh. Like I have a lot of very good fond memories and like there's a lot of things, qualities about him that I was like, oh, you know, the ghosting part, not really, but
Right.
like we like genuinely had fun together. There's more
But
more out there.
definitely. And like you'll experience that and it'll actually be genuine because who knows with that guy, like how much of that was even like real.
Real, yeah. I know it's like there's a lot of times where I was like, maybe this is off track, but I'm like, I'm gonna be like an asshole and I'm not gonna care about like I'm not gonna do like I don't think I have it in me to be like really fake, like a fake person.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm genuine and I just keep getting like fucking shit on by these men that can't be genuine for whatever reason or just don't like whatever, that's fine. But I'm just gonna keep being the kind of person I am, and one day I'll come across someone that's the same. But yeah, when I look back on that man, boy, like the uh him asking like, no, like I want to hear what you have to say. If you want to ask me something that's important, or like I think I mentioned this last episode we did together. Like compliments are one thing. Good morning, beautiful, whatever. Like that's nice and everything. That's bare minimum, of course, but like I felt so comfortable around him because of the way he would talk like about me. Like I've always been pretty self-conscious and like I felt that kind of get a little bit better just because of how he made me feel like comfortable. I'd be like, "Oh no, like I have this whatever, like ingrown hair or something." And he'd be like, "I'm going to get it." And I was like, "What?" Or like just like intimate moments like that where it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do his eyebrows," or I'm gonna like I never had that before. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like nice. I don't really feel like that
I I
question.
have another question that is not from Instagram, but it's
Oh,
just my own question I'm thinking of now. What's your love language?
my love language. I get confused by this. Is my love language how I show love? Or
So it could be you could have different ones. It like the way you show love could be different from how you feel loved. So what's both for you? And you can even have like you can have multiples.
how I show it is gift giving, number one. Like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna guess for you.
and then like second to that would be like quality time. The others like me giving uh I'm not great with words. I don't really go for touching unless like they're touch like that's not typically
Mm-hmm.
what. So those are the top two for me giving. Receiving, I've come to realize is also quality time. Like I really appreciate that more than anything. Like I don't care about getting gifts at all. Like I love to give them and that's how I find it easiest to like show love or appreciation, but like getting it, quality time, and probably like words of affirmation would be next.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's what I would have guessed.
romantically.
Especially
Really?
based on like what you're saying. Like, oh, it was like this is what I liked, this is what was nice.
That's adding up. That checks out. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Is he guessed that about me? So it's like I could talk a lot of shit about him, but he also had like these nice, genuinely nice like moments where I was like, oh, you pay attention and you listen and you know, which is why you guys, I thought he liked me all right. I saw comments where it was like he was just using you and whatever, and yeah, maybe he was like a little bit, but I've been used before, like truly just used before. It was like different vibe. Shout out to Toad. Check the last season if you need to know. Like
Yes, what was that? Our ghosting episode or
Yeah.
boy? I forget what it
On
was
both.
titled.
On both, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you? You have long-term relationships. You have been in love truly. So let's
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
I don't know. There's not like specific things that stand out in general. It's just like I I don't even necessarily feel like there's that much bad with any of my exes. It's just that they were not right for me or the timing was not right for us to work out. But I
Okay.
think overall looking back, like communication was good. It's nice. Like I have so many good memories and it's so nice when you have like inside jokes with someone and I don't know, like I
Not like
do.
a moment that you're like, oh, that made me feel like how I felt special. Like, oh, that made you feel special or seen or like understood specifically. Maybe more
um
because you're with people for like several years, but
I know, I think that's what makes it hard
well,
because
it's
I'm
hard.
like it's a lot of time to think through.
I had a
um
experience, but
I don't know, I feel like my most recent ex, like there was a lot of stuff especially in the beginning that he did that stands out to me. Like
Mhm.
he would surprise me a lot. The number one, actually, okay, I know my answer. My number one core memory
Uh-huh.
is I was working at the salon late one night and I was there by myself and I was waiting for my last client
Mhm.
and it was dark outside. So you could, from the outside, you could see into the salon. And he was across the street picking up his car from the mechanic and he
Mhm.
could see me through the window and saw that I was there. And
Yeah.
he just came into the salon and the music was playing in the salon and he literally just walked through the door, didn't tell me he was coming, just came in and just like came over to me and took my hand and just like started dancing with me
Aw,
in the salon. Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, that was super cute.
I wouldn't have pegged him for someone.
I know he would do really, really sweet, nice stuff like that all the time. And like, I just remember he always would, like, after work or on his way back from the gym or whatever, he would
Mhm.
always have to pass the salon to go home. So he would always stop in and he would like bring me Starbucks and
That's nice.
stuff like that. And I remember actually another, now I'm like, oh, I'm remembering all these things.
Many actually. Thanks.
I remember one time I caught a glimpse at his phone, and in his notes on his phone, he like had listed all of these things to like remember. It was like in the very, very, very beginning, like we had just started dating, like little things about me to
I've done.
remember.
I
Yeah. And I
I
was
know.
like, is this like a creepy serial killer vibe? Like, should I be freaked out by this or should I think it's sweet? I don't know.
Whoa.
But now that I know him and his personality, I'm like, okay, it was really sweet.
It could go either way. I do
And
it because I genuinely want to remember. Like, my
right.
memory kind of sucks, and I know if I'm interested in someone, of course I'll remember stuff. But it's like stuff that you like or stuff that you said or like I'll put that. Um,
Especially if it's like stuff that's foreign to them. Like I remember he had in there even like my favorite like makeup, like the foundation that I wear, like shit like that. And then like, but he always would remember these things. And then he would always get me gifts for my birthday that would be like something that was like really sweet and thoughtful and like I don't
uh,
know. Yeah, he would do. He was sweet.
that's a positive.
Yeah, it's just thoughtfulness like
That's
that that I
yeah.
appreciate, and it really makes you feel special.
Mhm. I think if someone remembers something about me, I'm like, what? I exist to you? Like enough for you to remember
And
something?
on the flip side, it's such a turn off. I wasn't, I don't want to say I was talking to this guy because it wasn't, but
Yeah.
did, I don't even think I mentioned this during our episode back. So I got a new car
You wait,
and
when?
I didn't tell you. Okay. Okay.
We're leaving your house now.
Story update. Yeah.
What the heck?
My the car I had was a lease. The lease was going to be up Went
Oh.
into the dealership and I was like, because it was my first lease. So I was like, I don't know what the process is. I don't know, like, I didn't know if I wanted to buy out my car, get a new one, whatever. So I
Mhm.
walked in there and I was just like, I just need somebody to help me. And this,
Ugh.
guy salesman came over and he was super nice. And I ended up getting to know him because I spent so much time at the dealership throughout the whole process of getting the car and figuring out what I wanted to do.
Right.
And he asked me out a few times. We hung out in like a group setting. I don't know. He expressed interest in me and I told him I wasn't really sure how I felt. I
Mhm.
like he physically was attractive, not necessarily my type, but like
Oh,
good looking guy, but like I wasn't sure how much we had in common, how compatible we were, etc. So I was just like, I don't know if I'm interested.
yeah.
But one thing I noticed about him was like he had terrible memory. And I feel like especially if you're interested in someone and you really want to like win them over, you'd think that like first of all, they'd be important enough to you that you just would remember those things or make it a priority to remember them. But also like you would want to show them that you remember because you want them to feel important so that then they'll also be interested back. Right? And I would just notice like every time we would speak to each other, like things would come up from previous conversations. And I'm like, I remember us talking about this. How do you not remember?
You know what
And
I
how do
think?
you not remember this about me? And maybe you have so many conversations with so many other customers every day, all day. That's fine.
Yeah, but if you're like wanting
You're
to,
trying to, right? You're trying to date me and like court me and all this shit. Like, come on.
sometimes I think so. I don't know when this was, April-ish, maybe. I don't know. I was on the apps and I was like, whatever, I'm gonna talk to anyone. Like, I was like bored and spiraling. So I talked to all these people, like, which is not typically me. I kind of like zero in on like one, maybe two that like I know are compatible. That was not what I was doing. I was wilding out talking to literally anyone. I could not remember for the life of me. Like, did I tell that to that person? Did I say that to this person? I'd have to scroll back and be like, did we have this conversation or was it? I hated that. I will never do that again. And then it
Yes.
made me think, huh, some other men that I'd be like, you really, okay, maybe that was your problem, that you didn't know we already had this conversation because you confused me with, you know.
100%. And I've done the same thing. But like, if we're just texting and it's on the apps, I excuse it. But like, if we're having these in person interactions,
Right.
and again, I'm not pursuing you or expressing interest in you, it's the other way around. So it's like, and that, whatever, I don't care. I don't want him or need him to remember anything about me or our conversations. But it's like, that was a huge turn off. And I was like, okay, already I'm not sure if I'm feeling this, but now I'm definitely not interested.
You would think like, okay, if you're doing this now, like you're trying to get my attention, you're trying to like, then what the hell, like what happens when you have my attention, you have my
A
time,
100%.
like
A
what?
100%.
No, that I
Exactly.
like the having being thoughtful is so important to me, or just like taking note of things, like or remembering things or just listening. Like we I had been talking about engagement rings with someone. Not important. But he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you silver." And I was like, "What?" Like, no. And he was like, "I'm just kidding. Like I can see what you're wearing and that it's gold." So I was like, LOL. Just a joke. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think to like."
That you pay attention to that kind of stuff.
No, I assume no. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like noticing things about the person that you're interested in, remembering things, listening, like that's also important.
I completely agree. Let's see. How to deal with a friend group completely ghosting you. Later found out they said I'm too much. Oh God, I don't even know how to answer that. Honestly, fuck it. Like if anyone who ghosts you, like if they're going to do that, obviously that means they don't really care about you.
Yeah.
Because I think friends can have, like, you can grow apart from friends, or you can have disagreements, fallouts, whatever. But the difference is, and I experienced this last year with one of my really good friends
Mm-hmm.
that I've known since like, middle
Not,
school.
not
Not
me.
not you. Where we were just like really butting heads, and I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I just feel like you're kind of a shitty friend and you're being a shitty person lately. But the difference is, rather than me just being like, oh, she's really getting on my nerves and she sucks, I'm done with her, ghost,
Right.
I confronted the situation because I value her as a friend. And I feel like even if we drift apart and things aren't always going to be the same, or maybe we won't stay as close, but like
To have that conversation.
we should have a conversation. And right, I think that's the mature thing to do.
Yeah. You know, this question, I was surprised to see it. This happened to me in high school. I don't think I've ever discussed on this podcast
I
about
don't
it.
think you have either, but I know you've told me
Yeah, like the exact thing. I
about it.
had a pretty close knit friend group in high school. I'm sorry if you can hear Puff. She's wilding out. Come here, Puff. You want to be on camera? Here she is. She's a girl. That's it.
Oh, Puff.
Just letting me. Anyway, so we grew up together, elementary school, like always friends and all that. And so in high school, me as a person, I don't have a filter to this day. I just don't really like, I don't know, it's not who I am. And sometimes I'll say something before I like really think about it. And it was worse when I was obviously younger and less mature. So what had happened was I said something about looking better than one of my friends in a bikini, and it was a dumb thing to say, and it was something I just was like, oh yeah, like to me it wasn't serious, but then it got relayed to that friend, and obviously she like didn't like what she heard, which I completely understand. It was a stupid thing to say. And so we had a group chat, and we all talked in it all day long. We're teenage girls, like constantly talking in this group chat. And so one day I said something and no one responded. And I was like, oh, like that's weird. And then like literally nobody talked. I was like, what is going on? Like no one said a word. But basically they all ghosted me. The exact same thing. This was in high school though, so if your situation is with adults, I think probably just like let them go. Because if you're an adult and you're doing this to friends, probably have problems. But so in that scenario, they ghosted me. I don't know how long it went on. It was pretty traumatizing, actually. And in school, we used to sit together, do things together, whatever. We didn't talk. And then my friend Cass, she was like, "Wait, I they must have been talking about it at lunch or something. I wasn't there." And she was like, "Well, did you talk to her?" And they were like, "No." And she was like, "Why don't you talk to her?" And then she had texted me and like confronted me about it, and I was like, oh, I didn't mean for it to sound like that. It was just dumb, like it was like a joke. And so like we like talked it out eventually, but it took Cass being like, why don't you just like have a conversation about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay. And then the one friend that I don't know, it felt at the time that she was trying to turn like everyone against me. I don't know exactly what happened. That's how it felt to me. um Eventually, like years later, she was like, hey, we hadn't spoken, like we were not friends after that. And she was just like, you want to meet up and have dinner. We were literally like, this was years later, like we were over 21 because we met at a bar, had a drink. And she was like, I want to apologize because that was like, I didn't that was unnecessary. And I was like, that is nice of you because as shitty as it was for me to say something like that, it felt like I was traumatized by
It was a
all
very,
of my friends
yeah,
ghosting.
it's a dramatic reaction.
Yes. So my advice would be try to talk it out. As you being the person that you don't really know what's going on, it's, I feel like, harder to approach, but
But
you
if
can't
if they're ghosting you though, and they're just like
yeah, if you can't
not,
get through them, like,
yeah.
I would say it's not a loss, because if you're past a certain age and you can't just have conversations with people, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, that's the thing that I just can't get, like, I can't wrap my mind around it. I feel like if it'll bring you some kind of peace of mind, like maybe, try reaching out one final time, like send, a message or a text and just say what you want to say. But then if you don't get anything back, like fuck it. Like that. And I know that's easier said than done, depending on like how long you've been friends with these people for, and to lose a whole group of people at once, it's hard. But honestly, like I made a whole new friend group down here within the last year or so. So, I mean, it's definitely possible to make new friends as an adult. And if they're going to be immature and act like that just sounds like some weird catty mean girl shit to me. And why would you want to be friends with people like that anyway?
Romantically, I could say I've written out texts in my notes app that I never sent. I could say that I've sent texts that at first I was like, this is so pathetic, but then like just to have it be sent, and it's like, okay, whatever, I said what I could say. I try, like, you can't force anyone to give you a minute of their time, like hear you out, or you can't
Right.
make somebody do that, but just to get it off your chest, sometimes that's helped me a lot.
Yeah, I've
Like,
definitely done that before too.
you could send us an Instagram message just to like get it off your chest, and then, I mean,
Yeah,
whatever.
or like tell us the details of like what happened, if it'll make you feel better, just kind of like vent about it. We're here
Love
to
it so much.
listen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'd
Uh,
love to hear what the hell happened. But if they're saying you're too much for them, good, fuck them. Go find other people that are like more on your same level. Okay, well, I think we are gonna wrap up this episode here.
Thanks for your questions, and sorry if I like went off on some tangents. I had more to say today than I expected.
But I feel like those are the best kinds of episodes because it makes it feel more like just a natural, real conversation. And I think it was good to hear more from you, especially since last week it was just me by myself. So I'm happy to hear your voice more.
Well, if you guys message us about stuff in this episode, like, have you dealt with health anxiety or like hair loss or whatever? Have you been ghosted by all your friends? Like, I'd love to know. Leave us a comment.
Definitely. And also let us know what topics you want us to talk about the rest of this season.
Yeah. We'll talk about pretty much anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's off the table.
Basically. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. Don't forget, go follow us on Instagram and YouTube, and we will see you next Friday with a new episode.
TTYL.
Bye.